Have you seen the recent protests against the activities of Hyprep in Ogale community? It is a result of dissatisfaction among a specific group of individuals. Since not everybody who owns land in Ogale is directly affected by Hyprep's activities, it is only the people who have lands where Hyprep activities are ongoing. The people whose lands have been excavated without their consent are those who came out to protest and express their grievances. You should note that ownership of land in Ogale Eleme is by individuals or family or even non-indigenes who buys land, and this ownership grants them the right to protest when Hyprep enters their land without engaging them through the community so they can understand the scope of work to be done. The landowners were not informed. They didn't give their consent. As it stands, their land have been devalued. The excavation has compromised the profile of the land. Hyprep forcing themselves on people's land reflects a high level of impunity. The fact that these individuals affected are few compared to the larger geographical space of Ogale community does not invalidate their voices or concerns because they are the ones bearing the pain of the damages caused on their lands.
That we should bring civil engineer, that they will bring civil engineer and look at it. And we're expecting that before they further to excavate to do that kind of double the cost, and their civil engineer or the team review a sustainable measure to note the excavated point there, so that to avoid our house collapse or leaving that be. Community will don't have that kind of money to do that kind of reinforcement. But then they said that they came there to do the job there. They want to take responsibility or give government a better recommendation.
People will die here because there will be school here, there will be hotel, there will be other private, there will be other companies that will be here in future. They have excavated without no proper thinking of how to reinforce the place. They just fill it back and leave it and go away. And leave it for the landowners at their peril. We can't suffer like this. We've been talking, we had different meetings. The king have met with them, had discussion, but it just ends there. They will not mind, they don't mind. Say, what can we do? To clean underground table water, they should do the proper thing. Why are they afraid of doing the proper thing? And just excavate the land, borrow pitch excavation and leave it without proper compassion and the enforcement.
After holding the meeting we held with the Minister of Environment, and we concluded that MOU will be written between the Ogale community and Hyprep. And we are waiting for them to bring the MOU paper so that we can sign. But we are surprised totally. The Ogale people are annoyed that the Hyprep and the Shed and the Minister of Environment disappointed the people of Ogale by jumping everything we discussed, whatever arrangement we have made, and conclude to start a new thing, to start a fresh work without the MOU.
There is a place they said they work, said they do clean up 6 years ago. That place is no place to be right on about. There's nothing to do in that place. We cannot do anything in that place. We cannot farm there anymore 6 years ago. And the handover said they are finished. Where they said they are finished, there is nothing we can do in that place. We cannot farm there again.
When Hyprep came to the palace of King Appolus Chu on July 18th earlier this year, the coordinator told the community that the excavated point would be backfilled. The community kicked against backfilling and demanded civil reinforcement of their lands after excavation for the safety of current and future use of the lands.
Doing the remediation, definitely in certain areas they must excavate. But standard practice dictates that when they are done with the remediation, then they will backfill and ensure that the area that has been backfilled is solid enough.
Even this is about 2 meters, 3 meters, and I'm going to now go see, I want to go like 8 meters, 10 meters down, even this one alone. You can look at it, you can look at them, they are all spots. Now, it will need a reinforcement of this. From here, from this damage point, you need to refer to bring to the surface of the land to enable any infrastructure to sustain here. If not, if you just backfill this thing down here without making a proper reinforcement, the building here will collapse. And I don't think the federal government will want anybody to do this. And this understanding should be done with community while the project go on.
The meeting with the coordinator of Hyprep didn't yield results. So, the Oneh-Eh-Nchia X of Eleme Kingdom, His Royal Highness King Appolus Chu, took his plight and that of his subjects that are affected to the Minister of Environment alongside some of his chiefs for a meeting on the 27th of August in Abuja.
All agree that we shall put them into a documentation by signing MOU on the things that are great, and then which they've accepted to sign the MOU. As I'm speaking to you, the MOU is almost ready for the community to sign.
So we didn't have access to the contaminated land. And so part of the resolution is that we'll be granted access so that we can clean up Ogoni and clean it sustainably. And those resolutions are being documented in black and white, so that the community reps will sign and we will also sign. And the next thing is to implement all the resolutions. All parties are happy.
The meeting ended well with a communique that a MOU will be signed between Hyprep and the community. The community was surprised that they were yet to receive and sign the MOU that was agreed during the meeting with the minister, and Hyprep had already started excavation of their lands.
This project is in Kana, is in Gokana, is in Tai, is in Eleme. And so we have to ensure that if we are going into an MOU, it is such that is feasible, it is such that is implementable, it is such that is practical. So the MOU is a document that will have to be very, very painstaking in putting pen to paper. Our integrity, because this is a community project, and we say it every now and then, we are dealing with community people, we will not tell you what we can do.
The man that just finished talking is the head of communications of Hyprep. This was on a national television on the 26th of November. It is obvious from what is said that Hyprep does not sign any MOU, nor community engagement or agreement with landowners before entry into people's lands and start excavation. How do they just enter into people's lands and start excavation without any formal agreement or engagement with the community? It is a thing of concern.
Hyprep people not gonna help us. Any person will say, oh yeah, you not spoil something for this land, that person talk lie.
Nobody should be able to come and deceive anyone that our land in Ogale is not affected.
Hyprep seems to be playing politics with the remediation process, more or less dividing the community while shifting attention from the key issues. Ogale landowners, from the beginning of time, did not reject the remediation exercise. Rather, they kicked against the plans of Hyprep to backfill the points it excavated on their lands. They instead demanded a civil reinforcement of the excavated points. These pictures on the screen are a civil reinforcement job done for shell after excavation. It is around the same area where Hyprep are currently working in Ogale. As you can see, they started with sharp sand, then compacting it using a compacting machine, followed by ironwork, then the casting of the excavated pits. With this reinforcement, It will sustain any kind of structure without the fear of collapse. This is what Ogale landowners are demanding from Hyprep on their land instead of backfilling, because backfilling these excavated points poses a high risk of building collapse, loss of lives, and property damage in the future, which is a danger not only to Ogale landowners or community, but to Nigerians at large, especially those who will settle there in the nearest future. If that be the case, Hyprep should civil reinforce the points that belong to the landowners protesting that they do not want backfilling, while for those who prefer theirs to be backfilled, they should backfill it for them, because land belongs to individuals. As such, every landowner is entitled to their demands.